Hello, and welcome to Lesson 10 of Speed Puzzling 101 Tips and Tricks. Quick speed puzzling lessons in under 10 minutes. Today's lesson is on how to keep a competitive mindset in between major competitions. As a disclaimer, there is no single correct way to speed puzzle or prepare to speed puzzle or do anything within the speed puzzle world. My advice may work for some, it may not work for others, but I encourage you to try out as many different methods as you can and see what works for you. I have recently competed at the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships in Spain. All the puzzles behind me are from that competition. It is arguably the largest and most competitive puzzle competition that occurs each year. I also plan on competing at the 2026 Canadian Nationals again, which is still about 8 months away. And that is a big gap between major competitions. So I need to make sure that my competitive mindset is constantly being challenged, so I'm always preparing myself for the next big competition. Much like any other activity you compete in or you want to get better at, maintaining a competitive mindset is imperative. Since I have started trying to compete more often outside of major competitions, I have noticed my overall speed and ability has improved. In this video, I'll be providing some strategies and suggestions on what you can do to kind of maintain that competitive mindset. Your ability to participate in some of these methods may be more challenging depending on location, how much money you are willing to spend, but there is something out there for everyone. So try as many as you physically and financially and are able to, but just try something. The first method is to compete against yourself. This is by far the most economical of all the options. But measuring how fast you complete a puzzle compared to a previous attempt is super common. It's a convenient way to measure progress. You don't need to buy a new puzzle each time, but this is the least recommended option for a few reasons. One, there is no element of surprise. You are picking a puzzle, so mentally you are already somewhat prepared. Second, you've already done the puzzle before, so you should be going faster. But like I said, this is a common and convenient approach, so let's adapt this method slightly. First, set a goal on how much you want to beat your previous time by, not just simply beating it. For instance, if I did a puzzle in 50 minutes on the first attempt, I don't want to beat it by just a second, but maybe I want to go by a minute or by 5 minutes. The jump between your first and second attempt will always be the largest difference than any subsequent attempts. So be bold with that initial goal. Most of the time, I don't pay attention to the clock, but in this case, I will. So for the second step, put a countdown timer somewhere you can see, or if you still don't want to look at a clock, just have it set to an alarm so you know when it ends. Racing against a clock will make you go faster when it counts down than when it counts up. Having a set limit where you are forced to stop increases the pressure. The next step is to compare your time with someone else. If you haven't gotten one already, figure out who your speed puzzle rival is. You will never need to tell this person, but you'll know who it is. For example, I have 3 or 4 that I can think of off the top of my head. A couple of them I've met in person, a couple of them I have not. None of them know that in my mind that we are rivals, but they are all individuals who are usually around my average speed, but are also improving themselves, and 1 or 2 others who are consistently slightly faster than me too. If you use things like the My Speed Puzzling app, make sure to enter as many of at least your first attempts as you can. Then see what names pop up around yours the most in the results section. Those are your puzzling rivals. I also like to have one rival that I know is much faster than me, but in a dream scenario, on the right day with the right puzzle, maybe I could be able to pull out a miracle. There's no rhyme or reason as to who you may pick, which name stands out to you. It could be a name, it could be a country, it could be someone that's always just that one spot ahead of you. But for future puzzles, you can use, even on your first attempts, you can use their time as your goal. If you are always beating your rival's time, pick a new one. That's not what we're looking for here. You need someone challenging you as much as possible. Finally, for those of you who aren't purchasing numerous puzzles and need to redo the same ones, try to solve the puzzle in a different order. For instance, if I were doing cats on the shelf, one time I may start with the plants, the next time the cats. Force yourself to take a different approach and you'll at least feel like you're doing a slightly different puzzle while also still trying to challenge your previous attempt time. Next on the list are virtual competitions. These have exploded in recent years, but you do need to know what you are looking for. As someone living in Canada, our primary virtual method is through the Canadian Jigsaw Puzzle Association. There are one or two individual virtual events each month, and at least one paired virtual event as well. The challenge is signing up. With up to about 80-ish spots per event and the demand being very high, these sell out in minutes. So make sure to set an alarm if you are looking to sign up for a competition like this. For each country, what your national puzzle organization arranges will vary. So make sure to follow them or even reach out to them if they're not doing much or you're just not quite sure what their setup is. Out of the officially registered national organizations, Canada has the most land to cover. So if we can do it, really any country can. The next big organization running virtual competitions is the Euro Jigsaw Jam, or the EJJ, as it's more commonly referred to on social media platforms. Now, I have not participated in any of these as of yet, but I do know quite a few people who have. They are extremely popular and growing rapidly. Many of the top European puzzlers participate in the events, of which there's been over 100 of them. So check out their website for more information. But even as these are run out of Europe, they're also countries that are not European based that are also eligible, such as Canada, the US, Australia. The EJJ hosts virtual events that can be done on your own time with the flex option, as well as more strict timing competitions as well. So there are options for everyone. And similar to the EJJ, speedpuzzling.com, which is run out of the US by Jonathan Clough, is another opportunity to compete virtually, as well as some in-person options for those who are in the US. All of these options do cost money, and this does tend to add up over time, so just be mindful of that. Speedpuzzling.com, again, while it is based out of the US, is also open to people in other countries. Just double check on the website to see if your location country is eligible. Finally, we come to the option that is probably the most fun, but also the most challenging, and that is small in-person competitions. These are less common, but are occurring more and more, and are starting to pop up at among libraries, bookstores, board game cafes, local breweries. It is an option. It's an opportunity to get people into stores and businesses. So you will start to see these pop up more and more. For those of you who like to organize events, I would encourage you to reach out to maybe local businesses in your area, as well as various puzzle companies. Not everything needs to be Ravensburger. In fact, many competitions are not Ravensburger based. There are so many puzzle companies out there that may be willing to team up with uh, various organizers, with various small businesses to promote their puzzles as well as promote local businesses as well. Nothing beats in-person competitions. There's a lot more involved with them, but there's opportunities there for sure. And this leads me to my final option, and that is virtual unofficial competition. If you are lucky enough, you will eventually grow your personal speed puzzle community. For example, anyone in Canada is eligible to be a part of the Canadian Speed Puzzlers. The website is on the screen at the moment as I'm talking. And they run various events. Some are paid, some are not. But in the lead up to Worlds, there were bi-weekly or twice weekly bring your own puzzle events. And these were done virtually, allowing many of us to compete against each other, each virtually with puzzles that we already owned. Sometimes most of us would all have the same one, and sometimes it was more of a mix, but it did allow that competitive atmosphere to be to to be maintained. And Canada at the Worlds this year had their most amount of people qualify for the semifinals and into the finals in the individual rounds, and exceeded expectations in pairs and teams as well. So it does work. And many of the people that attended these types of events frequently had significant progression going into worlds. So it does work. Look to see if there's something similar in your area as well. One thing I took away from the World Championships is how much people want to be puzzling all the time and how much they want to help out others within the puzzle community, regardless of how well known the puzzler might be, how good that puzzler might be, how new they might be, or anything. Everyone just kind of wants to help out others in whatever way that they can. So reach out to people through their puzzle accounts, and see what's out there. But at the end of the day, what you want to be doing is practicing that competitive mindset as much as you can, whichever way it might be, whether you are competing against yourself, whether it's virtually, in person, whatever. The more that you can do, the more prepared you're going to be when you sit down at your next major competition. That is it for lesson 10 of Speed Puzzling 101 tips and tricks. Click like if you enjoyed it, leave a comment if you have a suggestion for a future video or just have a thought on this one, and make sure to subscribe to see more. Coming up very soon on this channel is episode 5 of Puzzled and Chatty, so make sure to click subscribe and you'll get a notification when that gets launched. That is it for this lesson. Class dismissed, and until next time, as always, happy puzzling. Bye.